What is up, image bears? Welcome back to ChristianCraft, where we play Minecraft and we talk about God, the Bible, Christianity, and everything else. Today, we're going to talk about gender and marriage, transgenderism, homosexuality, all types of different things, all types of things that don't really make for a popular YouTube video. We're going to dive right into that topic. I was just watching a video, about like how to make engaging content, making good thumbnail, and at the same time, I got a Discord message. Somebody joined the Discord. Howdy, if you're watching, welcome to Image Bears. Thank you for subscribing, joining the Discord. You are welcome here. And they were asking me about my views on trans people, queer people. They're asking me my views on that. And I was already, as you can tell, I'm far away from the house because I am working on the iron farm over here. I'm just like I was clearing out trees and I'm terraforming. And then I realized I can do all of this stuff while responding to that question because I'm thinking about that question. So let's talk about it. What are my views on gender? What is gender? In my brain, there are two ways to go about this question, and I'm going to address both in this video. So if you watch until the end, hopefully you get a comprehensive explanation of my view on gender. And the two ways I frame this is biologically and theologically. Okay? So, my biological views on gender are independent and compatible with my theological views. My theological views on gender are independent and compatible with biology. What do I mean by this? What I mean is, let's say, for sake of argument, I were convinced that Christianity is not true. I am convinced that Jesus did not raise from the dead, there is no God. If I were to be convinced that is true, I would have my same views about gender. I want to get that out of the way immediately, just so that we have a common understanding. I think oftentimes in these conversations, people say, well, you just believe that because you believe in an imaginary God. My views on gender are formed primarily by biology. My views on marriage come from the Bible. I'm not going to refute that at all. My views on marriage come totally theologically. I think that marriage is inherently theological. We'll talk about that later in the video. But let's just dive into it. The two reasons I hold that there are only two genders. The reason I hold that there's only male and female is because that's what I observe in biology. And that's also what I observe to be true when I read the Bible. Okay? If you're already ready to turn off the video, you have that right. You have that freedom. But if you want to understand my Christian perspective, I encourage you to listen. So before I explain why I think what I think, I'll just explain clearly what I think. I believe there are only two genders. There is only male and female. I believe that if you are born a male, you are a male. If you are born a female, you are a female. That is a biologically loaded question. Okay? And now where we enter the realm of outside of pure biology, right? And we enter into like attraction and love and sexual relations. That's where we enter into like philosophy, theology, biology, all these things intersect. If somebody's asking me my view on gender, I'm pretty strictly biological in that area, right? Like sexual dimorphism is so universal in the mammalian world. Okay. Yeah. Do male seahorses carry the babies? Do some animals have different chromosome expression? Yes. But also, I think if you're listening and you understand biology, you understand that's a false equivalency. You know, every animal has unique chromosome and gene expression. But sexual dimorphism, a sexual dichotomy, sexual reproduction, it requires a lock and a key, for lack of better words, right? If you're watching this video and clicked on this video, you already knew what you're getting into, right? We're talking about sex today. We're talking about gender. We're talking about marriage, talking about reproduction, etc. Okay? So that goes without saying. I don't just mean lock and a key anatomically, all right? I'm not just saying lock and key anatomically for reproduction. I'm saying genetically with gametes, right? So if we're going to talk about how you and I got here, the biological mechanism that is required for human life is a sexual dichotomy. That is what's natural. That's also what's natural for all of the mammalian world and outside of just the mammalian world, right? In a sense, there's male flowers and female flowers, right? Like in a sense, some flowers self-pollinate, some flowers pollinate by other flowers, whatever. This idea of gender, I'm not talking in religious terms right now. I'm just talking biologically. The concept of gender historically and scientifically and universally is you require a male and a female to reproduce. That's what sex is. I'm not saying sex is merely reproductive, all right? Don't draw a conclusion I'm not making. Go read the book, go read the Songs of Solomon. Go read that and read that and tell me if you think sex is purely reproductive, right? There's intimacy, there is love, there is an expression of union. Like there's a lot to sex that isn't just about reproduction. But we're talking in the realm of biology, right? If you're a naturalist, if you're an atheist, you're a naturalist, you don't believe in God, then you yourself think that sex is an evolved behavior, right? Like, why do we reproduce by sexual reproduction as opposed to asexual reproduction? Because there was something evolutionarily advantageous about having a male and a female role, right? So, biologically, I believe there is only male and female. There are things like Klinefelter syndrome. There are lots of genetic mutations, like intersex people. Maybe their genes are expressed XXY or XYY or XXY, whatever. But the view that sex is not dimorphic because of that is inherently flawed, because we are saying they are the two sexes, right? Intersex means between the two sexes. So I think that the standard for understanding gender, the standard for understanding sex, sexual determinism, sexually determined characteristics, that model is biological inherently. Okay? In my honest opinion, I say this with love and with kindness, I don't know what else to say with regards to that. I think that's just indisputable. I think it is absolutely biologically indisputable that there is only male and female. Okay? And if you're watching this video, maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. Maybe we disagree on terms, right? Like, yeah, there are only two sexes. I agree. However, the expression of your sexuality, that's fluid. That is a spectrum. Maybe that's your view. Or maybe you reject altogether what I'm saying. Maybe you don't think that gender is determined by genetic sex. Okay. Then let's just reject terms then and try to speak in generalities that are universal, or if we're going to speak in terms, I'll define terms, okay? Biologically, there's only male and female. And if you're a naturalist and you're saying gender is a social construct, right? Gender is something that's not objective, it's subjective. Gender is an individual experience. It's not sexually dimorphic. Then if that's your view, that gender is subjective, then your personal gender expression does not have to be aligned with my assessment of your expression. People can live with that, whatever views they want. I love America. I'm a proud First Amendment guy. If you are born a male and you're convinced you're a female, I am convinced you are wrong. I am sorry if that hurts your heart, but you asked me to make this video. And I'm going to be honest, and I want to say I love you. I do. How do I feel about trans and queer people? That was the original question. I love them. I love them. That's why I'm honest. You know, I asked you, what do you think about Christians? What do you think about Christianity? And you said, I don't want to offend you, but honestly, Christians have caused me a lot of hurt. Christians aren't very nice to me. I'm not offended. I'm thankful you shared honestly that viewpoint. And I actually agree. Christians have hurt me a lot too. Christians have caused me a lot of hurt and pain and sadness. But I don't want the basis of my worldview to be feelings. I want the basis of my worldview to be a combination of what's logical, what's true, what's observable, and what I experience and feel. So, I do love trans and queer people. I do. I love gay people. I love bi people. I love lesbian people. I love all people. I love all people. But what is love? Because I say I love trans people, but I also deny that trans people exist. So then some of you listening are like, then you hate them. You're denying my existence. You are committing a genocide against us. Like, I've had people tell me that to my face. I've had people tell me to my face that, like, I am participating in trans erasure. You know, I am participating in a genocide against trans people. Guys, I have a trans cousin. I have a trans cousin. And I love him. I love him very dearly. And the very fact that I called him would make my uncle lose his crap. Because both my uncle and his whole family and my cousin are fully convinced that a man can become a woman. And I am not convinced of that, and I will not ever lie. I'm never going to act and try to be someone I'm not. I do not think a man can become a woman. I do not think a woman can become a man. I don't believe that. So how do I love someone if I deny transgenderism? How can I love a trans person? I deny racism. You know, like I don't support racism. I think that racism is rooted in a lie. Racism is rooted in this view that people who look different are different. People who look different are different in value. That's a lie. All people are created equal. I believe that. I'm fully convinced of that. All people are created equal. So if I hate racism, which I do, I hate racism. I hate transgenderism. That's my honest truth. I hate transgenderism. I hate homosexuality. I hate the perversion of what God created. So how can I hate something that is so foundational to a person and still love them? Because love is not tolerance, my friends. Actually, oftentimes tolerance is antithetical to love. And let me use an extreme example. I'm not equivocating transgenderism or homosexuality. I'm not equivocating them with this. It's just to illustrate a principle, okay? Let me illustrate a principle. Don't jump to conclusions. Let me illustrate a principle. If your friend is doing something that is bad for them, they're going to make a really dumb decision that is going to have lifelong consequences. Maybe they're going to go try to get back together with their horrible ex. You know, maybe they're going to go to a party and do drugs. Maybe they're going to go, who knows? They're doing something they shouldn't. You are in a group of friends and one of your friends is about to do something terrible and you love your friend dearly and you want no harm to fall upon them. And your friend says, hey, I'm going to go out. I'm going to go sleep with this guy. I'm going to go get drunk. I'm going to go get taken advantage of. And all your other friends are like, yep, you go. Awesome. Go get drunk. Go to that party. Go get back with your toxic ex. You do you. And you feel something in your spirit and you're just like, I don't think you should get back together with him. I don't think you should get back together with her. I don't think you should go to that party. I don't think you should get drunk. I don't think you should do those drugs. I think that is bad for you. Who's more loving? The friends who say, do whatever you want, you do you? Or the person who has concern for your safety and well-being? Like, isn't that what parents are supposed to be? If you have a bad relationship with your parents, you guys listening, I'm so sorry. And I believe that God can repair that and restore that. God is a perfectly loving father who can fulfill the hurt your earthly father has failed. If your earthly mother has caused you harm, our Father in heaven can bring you comfort. But my experience with my parents has been incredible. Because my entire life, it's, that might hurt you. Be careful. Don't go hanging out too late. Don't go with these people. Be conscious and aware of what you're doing. Because as a kid, maybe I'm like, no, I want to go do this. And as an adult, I'm like, I would never let my kids do that. Because we value safety. Because is there a higher form of love than protection? A higher form of love of sacrifice? There's no higher form of love than sacrifice. And that's what it is to be a parent. That's what it is to be in a marriage, right? I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but that's always how these videos go. There's no higher love than to sacrifice. So, with a clear conscience and honesty in my heart, the reason I'm being so straightforward and honest about your question is out of love. It is because I care about your well-being. I do not think that transgenderism is conducive or beneficial to a person. I don't think homosexuality is. I spent the beginning of this video talking about biology, and I don't really want to talk more about biology because in my honest opinion, it's so obvious. I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm trying to be genuinely honest and faithful to what I think. To me, the fact that there's only two genders is so painfully obvious. Maybe it's because I'm a biology student. Maybe it's because I'm a biology student, so I just think in the terms of biology. Guys, I'm pre-medical. I'm pre-medical. When I get a person's medical chart, your gender is unhelpful to me. Your self-determined expression of your gender is not helpful to me. Because if you're a biological female and you're saying I'm a male and you're saying I have abdomen pain and I'm bleeding, if a male comes up to me and says, I have abdomen pain and I'm bleeding, I'm going to say, we need to get you into the ER right now. This could be very wrong. But if you're a female and you have abdomen pain and you're bleeding, I'm going to say, are you on your period? And if you're not on your period, we need to take you to the emergency room because something's really wrong, right? Like, men and female are fundamentally different genetically. They're absolutely different in measurable, observable ways. That is why we have different bathrooms. That's why we have male and female sports. Men have more bone density. They have more skeletal muscle mass. Men have higher red blood cell counts. I love women's sports. I think women should be athletes and do sports. It's also an irrefutable fact that men are superior athletes in almost every measurable way. Men and women should not be boxing in the same division, or fighting in the same division, or racing in the same division. There are thousands of women, probably hundreds of thousands of women faster than me. I'm not fast. There are thousands of women stronger than me. I'm not saying if you're a man, you are inherently stronger than every woman ever. No, don't make conclusions I'm not making. I am saying that genetically, when you compare average to average and elite to elite, men and women are biologically different. They are. Down to your cells. It's not just your genitalia. Every single one of your cells is marked male and female by the chromosomes. And that expresses your brain chemistry and your hormone. It expresses in your musculature. It expresses in everything about you that is biological, that you are a male or a female. This is why I care about the transgender issue. I am not, again, when we debate and disagree with people, Christians, please listen to atheists and try to understand them. Don't put them in a box. Don't try to intellectually dominate them. Listen and understand. That's my view. Christians, try to understand those who disagree with you. And if you're listening to this video and you disagree with me, please extend that same worldview, that same mindset, that same philosophy. Please extend that to me. Try to understand where I'm coming from. I care so much about this issue because it hurts people. It hurts the individuals who are confused. It hurts the individuals that are confused. Number one. And number two, it hurts others. I'm not saying that every person who identifies as trans is some like sexual deviant, degenerate, like psychopath. Don't make those conclusions. I don't think you're mentally well, but I mean, who is today? Like, all of us are anxious. All of us are depressed. All of us are medicated. Guys, it is absolutely irrefutably true that transgenderism and the rise of LGBTQ has led to the destruction of many people individually and the destruction to people culturally. We should not be telling little kids they could be born in the wrong body. Are you kidding me? It makes me want to just sob. It makes me want to sob. And now I'm getting into morality, and I just need to pull the Band-Aid off of biology, all right? We have gone as far as biology can go, right? As soon as I start bringing in morality, we're outside of biology, okay? Strictly speaking, biologically, I'm going to summarize, and then I'm going to pull theology and morality into it, okay? Purely biologically, I am fully convinced there is only male and female. That's my point. It's that simple. Purely biologically, I'm convinced there is only male and female. Now, like, what is sex? What is sexuality? What is love? What is marriage? Those are my worldviews informed by many things, primarily God, the Bible, theology. It's not purely rooted in the Bible because the Bible doesn't talk about transgenderism. The Bible doesn't talk about LGBTQIA. I get principles informed by the Bible, and I get principles informed by nature, principles informed by reason and emotions. So now that I've invited other authorities than just biology, right? Because now that I'm talking about morality, I can't act like naturalism itself is sufficient to explain this, because that's dishonest. Okay? I want to be honest. If a person is born male or female, that's what we observe. We should not be telling little boys and girls they could be trapped in the wrong body. That's indoctrination. That's a lie. No person is born in the wrong body. I'm sorry if that hurts your heart, but I'm not sorry for saying it, because that's the truth. Nobody is born in the wrong body. Nobody is born in the wrong body. You are either a male or you are a female. And it hurts people to tell them otherwise. Little boys and little girls should not be told by their teachers or their parents or by the internet or by anyone, you could be born in the wrong body. What does that even mean? Gender, outside of biology, the expression of gender, this is where I might surprise you listening, it is a spectrum. Masculinity and femininity is a spectrum. This is what I don't understand about the transgender worldview, is because for the longest time, they're like, boys can play with dolls. A boy can play with a doll. That doesn't make him a girl. Girls can do sports and play with monster trucks. That doesn't make them a boy. And then now we said, is your little boy playing with dolls and want to wear dresses? He might actually be a girl. And what Christians and conservatives have been saying for years, guys, if we legalize gay marriage and we start allowing all these things legally, we're going to get to we're going to lose the plot. And they're like, that's a slippery slope argument. And it's true, guys. It is completely unique to the modern secular Western world that a biological male can become a woman. Cross-dressing has existed for all of human history. Homosexuality and polygamy and all types of sexual ethics have, like, I'm not saying there aren't native Indian tribes who were two spirits where they felt in tune with male and female spirits. I'm not saying that's not true. Like it's pretty, like that's something that people reference a lot, and that's not like actually based in much scholarship, honestly. Like it's more of a popular point, but it's not actually, like, it's very misrepresented. It is completely unique to the modern secular Western world that a man can become a woman. Homosexuality has existed forever. Go read the Bible about Sodom and Gomorrah. You know, there's been cross-dressers. There's been all types of, but the idea that a man can become a woman, that's just, guys, that's nonsense. I'm sorry. That's my view. It is false that a man can become a woman. It is false that a woman can become a man. If you are born a male, you are a man. If you are born a female, you are a woman. You can be an effeminate man. You can be a masculine woman. You can be a guy who is into dolls. You can be a girl who's into conventionally masculine things. That's where the iron farm's going. You can be into things that are, not every man has to be a super macho man. We need more gentle, soft-spoken men, and we need some more assertive women who are like strong and independent. Like everyone is unique and people express things uniquely. I'm not saying every man is a cookie cutter man, every woman has to be a cookie cutter woman, but I am saying, what I am saying is this. A man cannot become a woman. A woman cannot become a man. If you say, that goes against my fundamental identity, my fundamental identity is that I am a man. I am a woman. I'm not even trans. I just am a woman. Trans women are real women. Trans men are real men. Like, if that's your worldview, I encourage you to continue watching these videos and continue watching this video. And we can disagree. Do you know what's most fundamental to my identity? There's not a single thing more foundational to my identity than that I am a child of God, that I am a citizen of heaven, that I belong to Jesus Christ. And if you deny Jesus Christ, you're denying my identity in Jesus. But guess what? I am so firm in my own identity in Christ. I am so convinced and assured of it that you have every right to deny that. If you're convinced that transgenderism is real and that trans women are real women, trans men are real men, if you are convinced that everyone has the right to do whatever sexual behavior they want, if me expressing a different point, you're like, this should be canceled. You shouldn't be able to say that. It should be illegal to misgender people. You should be deplatformed or canceled. You suit yourself. I don't think that way about people who blaspheme God's name. Transgenderism that's a protected class in America. The people who get deplatformed are people who are like truth seekers. I don't think that I think everyone has the right to speak their mind freely. If you're convinced of transgenderism and what I'm saying to you is absolutely hateful and you think it's bigoted, tell me that to my face. And by face, I mean in the comments. You have the right. I'm not offended. If you think I'm wrong, you can defend your position. We can disagree. I would much rather we disagree and we talk about it than you unsubscribe and say, I'm not listening to this bigot. Because then how do we create any understanding? How do we create any unity? What do we have common ground in? Because if we continue removing ourselves from each other's lives because of our disagreements, we're never going to have unity. So I encourage you, if you disagree with me, you have every right to disagree. You have every right to voice your grievances. Tell me, oh, I think you're hateful. I think you're mistaken. I think you're wrong. But then defend your position. Explain to me where I'm wrong, where I'm mistaken. And try to convince me that my worldview is false and your worldview is correct. And if you're just saying, Riggs, Image Bear, you're a lost cause. I'm not going to talk to you about this. I'm unsubscribing. That's okay. And for the record, I need to say this. I should have said this at the beginning of the video. When I say you, this video is not addressed to just you in the Discord. This is not addressed to an individual. When I say you, I'm speaking to you, the audience viewer. If you disagree with me, I'm speaking generally. I'm not picking on any individual. So if I didn't make that clear at the beginning, forgive me. I apologize if you're still watching. Now that I've just done that whole long caveat, let's get back to my original point. Biological expression of gender comes from somewhere. I'm not a naturalist. If I were a naturalist, I'd have the same views on transgenderism because of sexual dichotomy in nature. and objective truth, it is objectively true that an XY male cannot become an XX female. That's just objectively true. But now within my Christian worldview, I believe that biology is a creation, life, right? Biology is the study of life. I believe that life is a creation of God, that God created them male and female. That's within the first 3 chapters. The first chapter, read the first 3 chapters of Genesis. Within the first chapter, in the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them. If I haven't offended you already, then buckle up. The reason, and I've talked about this in other videos, in my video where I go, one of my first few videos where I go to the nether, I talk about this. The reason I'm against homosexuality, men marrying men, the reason I'm against transgenderism morally, right? I explained why personally, biologically, I'm against it. Why am I against it morally? Because the image of God is revealed in male and female. To pervert what male and female means is to pervert God's nature. To pervert marriage, the union between one man and one woman, male and female, monogamy under the covenant of marriage, to defile that is to defile God's image. If you are a male and you believe you are a woman, you are mistaken about how God created you. And I just want to ask you honestly, do you feel secure in your identity? Again, you is general here. In my opinion, I think the person who is confident and assured in their identity doesn't care what other people think. If somebody goes up to me, Riggs, you're a hippopotamus. Okay. Okay. I'm so confident I'm not a hippopotamus. But if somebody says like, Riggs, you're a false Christian and you're a heretic and you're lost, I'm going to get really defensive. I'm going to get really defensive because you attacked an identity that I highly value. And I'm going to either take the bait or I'm going to take a pause and say, wait a minute. I know my identity. I know I'm a saved Christian. I know I'm a genuine Christian who genuinely loves God. I'm not going to act irrationally or say, you shouldn't say that. How dare, like, I'm just going to say, I'm sorry that you feel that way. I'm going to give my logical and cool and calm collected case of why I believe I'm a genuine Christian. And if you disagree with me, that's okay. And then I'm going to end the conversation. I might be tempted at first to get fired up, like, how dare you? All of us are prone to that. But if somebody insults something that is just so clearly, I know it's not true, I'm not going to suggest you should be deplatformed. It should be illegal. It should blah, blah, blah. But the transgender movement, the transgender advocates, the activists, for a long they've quieted down now because like it's just culturally we've shifted so much in these last 5 years on gender. We were like during 2020, during the Biden administration, we were just so insanely over the top with this stuff. And then it's died down a bit. But those are the people who are loudest. Like, if you misgender a person, you're committing genocide. You should be deplatformed. You should be taken off Twitter. You should be fired. It should be illegal. You should be charged with hate speech. Christians don't speak that way about people who don't accept the gospel. And think from my Christian perspective, to deny Jesus is to forfeit your soul. The consequences are so high to reject Jesus. To reject transgenderism is to reject your individual identity that is merely a cosmic accident, and there's really no objective morality. There is no God, so who cares, right? I think that if you're convinced in your identity as a trans person, you should be able to continue watching this video. You should have the confidence to respond to me and say, I disagree with you. I think that's hateful. I think that's wrong. Let me try to convince you. Actually provide a case. I want to be honest with you guys listening. I've had many debates and discussions with trans people, with gay people. I have never in my entire life ever had a single person actually sit down with me and respectfully articulate their worldview. Not once. And I'm sure you listening who, if you've been hurt by Christianity or you've gotten into debates with Christians and they've been unkind, I'm sure you've had that experience too. I'm sharing this so that there's an invitation of conversation that's beneficial, that's respectful, that's honest. Because pretty much any time I express my views on gender, I get called a homophobe, I get called a transphobe, I get called a racist, white supremacist, Christian nationalist. I'm a Nazi, I'm hateful. You know, or my character gets attacked, like, whatever. It's never anything that's intellectual. So if you are convinced of the transgender ideology, you're convinced of the LGBTQIA ideology, can you please defend that position? Give me a well-reasoned response with gentleness and respect. That's what I'm trying to do here today. So let me continue. I believe that humans are male and female from birth because God created them that way. And that's evident in nature because the only union capable of making another human is sex between a man and a woman. Men ought to be men. Fathers ought to be fatherly. Men ought to lead their homes well. Women ought to be caretakers. Women ought to be loving mothers. And you hear that and you're saying women have to stay at home. No, I'm not saying that. Women, if you have a mission and a calling to do a career, do it. If you're a man, be a good husband if you're going to be a husband. And if you're going to be a parent, be a good father. If you're a woman, be a good wife, be a good mother. There are gender roles and gender norms. I'm sorry. And it's compatible with naturalism because the man is the stronger vessel. A man is the one who has the strength and the power, and his role reflects that because he goes out and kills and brings it back to his family. And a woman has a nature that is protective and detail-oriented. Like, women are incredible at understanding relationships. You know, when I talk to my fiance, I'm just like, you understand people in an incredible way I can't even fathom and understand. And I'm saying, guess what? There are men who do that too. There can be men who are maybe, they have that talent, you know? And there's women who are like hyper intellectual in STEM, or they're strong and they're assertive. All of those things, like I said earlier, maybe I'll surprise you. That is a bit of a spectrum. That's a personality. People's personalities are subjective and different. Gender, sexuality, that's an objective system. Because sex is between one man and one woman. It is. Sex is between one man and one woman. Marriage is between one man and one woman. I don't think that homosexuality has produced good fruit in our culture. I don't think normalizing and mainstreaming it and legalizing it has brought benefit to our country. Look at our country today. I know correlation does not equal causation. Yes, I get it. But as we've become more sexually and socially liberal? Has our country become more secure and productive? Or did the legalization of pornography destroy us? Did the legalization of homosexuality pervert marriage and childbearing? Transgender surgery being accessible to people, that's destroyed bodies, irreversible damage done to children, and not just children. I'm not of the position you should only get trans surgery if you're a conscious adult. It's fine if you're a conscious adult, just bad for kids. No, no one should perform surgery to mutilate themselves. That's what transgenderism is. You're mutilating your body because you have a distorted psychology. This isn't even it shouldn't be offensive. It's called gender dysphoria. In our current psychological models, gender dysphoria is a mental illness. It's not an inherent biological expression. There's no gene for homosexuality. There's no gene for transgenderism. If there were, they would just stand loud and proud on that fact. See, I was born this way. Guys, I don't think you're born gay. And I don't think the evidence shows that. I think pornography distorts and destroys our view of sex. I think people who have experienced trauma, sexual trauma, or just trauma of any kind, I think that homosexuality is a trauma response. I think transgenderism is a trauma response. I think it's a result of mental illness. That's what I think. And you can disagree. I don't think homosexuality should be legal. I don't think gay marriage should be legal. That's what I think. And holy crap, I'm debating posting this video, but I'm just going to be honest. I don't. And to me, it's like, oh my gosh, saying these things is terrible. And then I realized for all of human history, that was the universal norm. Culturally, that's the norm today. It's just in our Western secular bubble, our echo chamber, that we have these views. And if I get my YouTube channel taken down, I get demonetized, if I lose all my followers, then I'll have a clear conscience that before God, I'm saying the truth. Homosexuality is harmful to people. It's harmful to God. It hurts his heart because that wasn't his purpose. And I hope you listening have some honesty that in your own soul, in your own experience, you feel incomplete. Why in the homosexual community do they have, it's absurd the amount of sexual partners they have and sexual experiences they have compared to monogamous heterosexuals. If you're a married man, you are fulfilled in your sexual desires. But the mark of something unfulfilling is the constant need to feed, constant hunger. I think this is the point of the video that I want to tie it all together. I think the reason there is distortion and perversion on what marriage is, distortion and perversion on what gender is because there's an element, the strongest lies are rooted in truth. There is actually an element of truthfulness in that there's no male and female. And that's true with regards of how you receive God. In Christ, there is no distinction between male, female, Jew or Gentile, free or slave. All people equally can receive God. That's a truth. And the devil distorts that truth and says, see, I can give you that. I can give you no distinction between male and female on earth. Let it satisfy you. Except the devil can never offer anything satisfying, only offer something that's appealing, but never fulfilling. Jesus alone is where we find fulfillment. So I ask you, maybe you identify as LGBTQIA. Are you fulfilled? Are you happy? Is there joy in your life? Is there meaning in your life? Is there purpose? Is there service? Is there love? Is there joy? Is there peace? Is there patience? Do you have kindness in your life? Do you have gentleness in your life? Do you have self-control? Are you faithful and loyal? Do you see these fruits in your life? Do you feel fulfilled in your identity? If you do feel fulfilled in your identity, then you should have no problem with all the things I'm saying. You would just say, yeah, I disagree with you, but you have the right to say that. Every single day in my Discord, I get people who disagree with my fundamental worldview. I think there is no God. I think there is no morality. I think Christianity is a mythology. That stuff doesn't insult me at all. It doesn't offend me at all. I like engaging in those conversations. So if you disagree with me, that's fine. But I encourage you to let's engage in like an intellectual discussion about why I'm wrong and why you're right, rather than any ad hominem. You know, I don't want to say, oh, if you're a trans person, you're just like you're just a lunatic and you belong to the devil and you're foolish. Like, I'm not gonna I want to be loving and kind and gentle and respectful. And I also want to be honest, because you can't be loving if you're not honest. Honesty is the basis of love and truth. We have to be truthful. We have to be loving. I look at the state of the Western world as a science experiment. The Western world was governed by Christian principles for a long time. And recently we started experimenting with a secular model. Since experimenting with a secular model, is our country a better and more prosperous place, or is it not? We have given over our country to demons and evil. When our country said, yep, marriage can be between anyone, we gave that over to the enemy because marriage belongs to God. Marriage is God's creation. Marriage is a reflection of God's image. And we've not just perverted it, but we promote its perversion. When we say, yep, legalize abortion, on-demand abortion, now we have said, you have no right to life, and we're actually going to destroy the most innocent stage of life. We are going to destroy human life as it begins. So in abortion, we have legalized human sacrifice. And in transgenderism and in homosexuality, we have legalized distortion and perversion of what's most fundamental. What's more fundamental than just being born into this world? And that's not even something a person can do safely. And now if you are born into this world, we're going to attack you and put ideas in your head that you're born in the wrong body. I don't think our country is a country that shows the fruit of how social liberalism is productive. Do you think it shows how productive it is? Our country is ran by satanic, rapist pedophiles. A lot of whom are gay. A lot of Republicans are gay. Looking at you, Lindsey Graham. Looking at you, all these guys. All of our politicians are just like gay. They're all gay and like perverted. Because homosexuality is a perversion. I'm sorry, it's true. If you disagree with me, let's debate about it. How do I feel about queer people? How do I feel about trans people? I don't believe there's such thing as a transgender person. I don't believe a man can become a woman. How do I feel about people who believe they're transgender? I love them. And I love them so much that my heart breaks that you're deceived. You're deceived about something so fundamental which is your genetic identity. You reject your fundamental biology. That must be such a heavy burden to bear. And when our culture says, yep, get surgery, yep, take these hormone blockers, yep, change your body to fix your mind, I think we should restore the mind. I think we need a newness of mind. That's what it means to repent. It means to expand your mind, to be enlightened, to change course, to be renewed, to go in a new direction. Instead of rejecting your body, reject the idea that you're born in the wrong body. If a person has body dysmorphia, which I bring that example up because honestly, like I really do struggle with that. You know, like my whole life, I've just been like obsessed with the gym and obsessed with eating. And we can do my testimony video another time, but like I have a really unhealthy relationship with food and a really unhealthy relationship with the gym. And I have a very distorted view of my body. I'm not saying that's the same at all. It's definitely not the same. But if a person has body dysmorphia, if somebody is anorexic and they're starving themselves because they have a broken, deceived mind, they have a lie in their heart that they are fat when actually their body tells them they are skinny, I am wicked if I tell that person, if you feel fat, then you should lose weight. That's evil. If I tell a schizophrenic person who is convinced that there's just evil spirits all around them telling them to blow themselves up or the world's going to, you know, if they don't kill themselves, then the whole world's going to die. Yeah, dude, I think you're right. If that's your experience, if that's what you're seeing, if that's what you believe with your whole heart, follow it, man. Why are we so inconsistent? If an anorexic person who is convinced fully they're obese and they say, I just feel so obese, I would rather kill myself than not live this way, we would tell them, it's because I love you. You have to eat. You are not fat. You are underweight. You need to take care of your body. And I feel like we dance around the transgenderism issue. In honesty, again, I'm honest. That's who I am. Those who follow me because I'm honest. And those who follow me because they're like, ooh, Minecraft, and then listen and don't like honesty, they're going to unfollow. I think a lot of people are afraid to talk about the transgenderism issue because there's like the threat of suicide. It's like, if you deny their existence, you're killing them. I've been told that to my face. I've been told to my face several times that my worldview leads to people killing themselves. Who on earth is going to have the courage to talk about this? There are lots of people who have mental health disorders that make them want to kill themselves. And in no other mental health disorder is our response, yeah, avoid the issue. It's always, we have to address it gently. Honestly and gently, we need to save them. That's what I'm trying to do in this video. If you're convinced you were born in the wrong body, I think you're deceived. And if I'm the deceived one, explain to me how I'm deceived. I don't think a person can be born in the wrong body. I don't even know what that means, to be honest, because you just are born in the body you're born in. I am not going to go along with people's delusions. I'm not going to go along with people who are deceived and mistaken about their identity. I'm not going to do that for LGBTQ people. I'm not going to do that with depressed and anxious people. I'm not going to do that with people who have body dysmorphia. I'm not going to do that with anyone. I'm going to be honest to all people because I think that is what is loving. So, If you identify as a member of the LGBTQIA plus ampersand, I don't know the acronym. If you identify with that community, I want to say you are welcome here. I won't insult you. I won't degrade you. I won't attack you. I don't want any harm to fall upon you. I want you to live and I want you to thrive. I want you to prosper. I want you to feel loved and embraced in this community. I believe that the LGBTQ identity is actually harmful to your soul. So if I want to welcome you and love you, and if I care about your prosperity and well-being, then I'm going to honestly say that to you. I'm going to honestly say to you, I don't think this is good for you. So what are my views on queer and trans people? Find the fulfillment in your identity in Christ. Like I was saying earlier, there is something very real about our identity being without gender, that our identity is beyond our race, that our identity is beyond the physical. There's an element of truth there. And the devil's crafty lies has distorted that, has distorted the truth that in Christ there's no male and female, and distorted that and said, I can bring that to you on this earth. You don't need God to have no male and female. Look, transgenderism, gender affirming care. And the devil makes it look appealing, but it's actually chemical castration and mutilation. Look, freedom, women's rights, liberty, the freedom of choice, but it's actually dismembering babies in the womb and sacrificing them to the devil. Look, freedom to do whatever you want, to reach a heightened state of mind and find God, and it's actually drugs that are poisoning and killing your body. Transgenderism and LGBTQ identity is a lie. It's not rooted in truth, but you're trying to fulfill yourself because there's a God-shaped hole in your life. All of us are trying to fill that hole in our lives. All of us are trying to get drunk on something. All of us are enslaved to something. And you will only find freedom if your identity is in Christ. My life is a testament to that. I have found freedom and liberty and eternal life in Jesus. I'm not confused about my identity. I'm not confused on my meaning and purpose in this world. I know who I am. I know what I'm meant to do. I know who I belong to. I am confident and assured in my identity because my identity has been bought by the blood of Jesus and I belong to the creator of this universe. And I hope that one day you can know that. I hope that one day you can know the beauty of an identity in Jesus Christ. I don't know what else to say, guys. This topic breaks my heart because I know it's sensitive. I know it's a sore subject. I know it's hotly contested and disputed and controversial. I don't want to be just another voice in the noise. I want to be somebody who's loving and kind and you feel safe here. And I don't want to compromise what's true either. If there is no God, if there is no morality, if there is no meaning to life, if naturalism is true, then your gender identity is irrelevant. It doesn't even mean anything biologically. It's not rooted in anything other than consciousness, which consciousness is nothing more than chemical processes, and it's just pitiful genetic indifference. You're a cosmic accident. There is no meaning to life if there is no God. But if there is a God, and if there is meaning, that God has rules and boundaries and laws. And there's not laws and boundaries more fundamental than your gender. This is the field. Quick break. This is the field of all of our subscribers. Every single piece of wheat here is a subscriber. Oh, I don't have a hoe on me. I know it's going to drive some of you guys nuts, so I'm going to do this. So we're at 135 subscribers. Hey, stop. That's not nice. Aw, you're really cute. I feel so bad, but whoa, I don't feel bad. You're hurting me. Stop it. Oh my gosh. I think bro's like a member of the LGBTQ community. He's getting revenge on me. Stop it, bro. Be nice. So we're going to plant wheat for every subscriber. Dude, he has a vendetta. Bro has a vendetta. Oh my gosh. And I'm getting shot at. Oh my gosh. Gold carrots are so clutch. So we're going to plant wheat for all of our subscribers. We have passed 200 subscribers. Last video, we were at 198, 195, and now we're at like, oh my gosh, leave me alone, 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 leave me alone. Oh, I'm dead, so I'm just dead. I'm going to go sleep. I had such a good, like, I was on a roll, you know, I was like locked in that conversation, and then I started planting wheat, and I'm crazy. Let's wrap up this point and then end the video by planting image bearer seeds. If you're a member of the LGBTQIA community, I hope you continue watching these videos. I hope that you are willing to explore if God exists. I hope you're willing to explore if Jesus Christ is the Son of God, if there's eternal life in him. Because I'm completely willing that if God could not possibly exist, I would not be a Christian. If you can convince me God does not exist, I won't be a Christian. If you can convince me Jesus didn't raise from the dead, I won't believe in Christianity. If you can convince me that gender is a social construct and there is no sexual dichotomy, and you can convince me that transgenderism is real and my worldview is wrong, if you present that case and give me evidence, I will believe that. I'm not somebody who's just, I take things on blind faith and I'm just obstinate and closed-minded. I'm incredibly open-minded. Just reach out to me. Talk to me. Share your opinion. We don't even have to debate. I'm not asking for a debate. I'm just asking that if you're watching this and you disagree, let's talk about it. Let's share our perspectives. Okay? We're going to plant some wheat. We were at 195 last video, and now we are at 135. That is insane. Thank you so much for subscribing. That is an insane amount of subscribers in one video. There. Wow. This is every single one of our subscribers. What a blessing it is. Let's see if this number goes down after this video. I'm just kidding, guys. I have a clear conscience. You know, I'm not gonna clickbait or controversy bait. I'm just sharing my genuine opinions. I don't believe in rage baiting. I think that's unkind. I'm genuinely and honestly expressing my worldview. I'm genuinely, honestly explaining my views on gender, my views on queer people, my views on transgenderism. If you made it to this point in the video and you disagree and you're still subscribed, thank you. If you made it to this point in the video and you agree, Thank you. Share this video with your friends. I just hope that you guys watching this, if you took anything from today, take this. You can only have a firm identity in Jesus Christ. Because in a worldview of naturalism, there is no such thing as identity. It is arbitrary. Identity is completely and utterly arbitrary and meaningless. There are only two genders, male and female. Marriage is between one man and one woman. Sex is for men and women in the confines of marriage. You can disagree with me all you want. I don't think men can become women. I don't think women can become men. You can disagree with me. But if you disagree, share it. You're welcome to express disagreement here. You're welcome. Debate and discussion that's friendly and productive is highly encouraged. I don't want to be avoidant. I don't want to just say points and then not defend them. And I don't want you guys to just feel like, oh, I'm not welcome here. I'm going to unsubscribe. All are welcome here. Atheists are welcome. Agnostics are welcome. Christians, Jews, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, XYZ are welcome here. Men and women, people who are confused about their gender identity, LGBTQIA, you can be here. Everyone is welcome here. I'm thankful you watched this video. I hope it was encouraging. I hope that I expressed my view in such a way that you listened to it all. Maybe you disagree, but I hope you at least listened and tried to understand. I hope you have a blessed day. Thank you so much for watching. Signing out for now, boys. Ciao.